Present. Rick, here. John? Here. Here.
Here.
Pledge allegiance. Go sit down, Faye.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion for consent agenda. I'd like to move 5E to take it off the agenda. Motion to table 5E. Motion with that, go to consent agenda with that motion.
Second to approve the consent agenda with that change.
You will also see revised minutes from July 11th on the desk here. The red is what's been revised. It's just some wording that's been requested to be revised.
And also note the VBS closure for Methodist Church. That's also in there. And we're acting in the consent
It's in the
agenda.
consent agenda.
It's just a repeated closure that they've asked for multiple times. So we got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public input, this is time and place for, what? No. You want to pose it? You want to pose it? You want to pose it? I got a good hearing, I could hear every one of them say aye. All right. Public input, this is time and place for discussion items not already on the agenda, with the time limit of 3 minutes each.
I only got 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Oh boy, don't. I have some pictures here.
Wait a minute, let me start my clock.
Don't start the clock. Anyway, there's another one if anybody wants to look at them. Yeah, just pass it around. That's from the day that I donated to the tree program with John. Okay, bear with me, because I wrote my notes down, because I wanted to be sure I remembered what I wanted to say, and I got up at midnight last night and wrote.
Just 1 second, Faith. So this is in reference to the trees at the cemetery that you guys have voted to trim them up and remove the dead areas. So that's what this is in reference to.
Yeah, and to bring it up real quick is what my mom did when my dad died, is she wanted the cemetery to look like its own unity, you know, so that you couldn't look and see other houses. So it looked like a cemetery that was blocked off, and that was the whole reasoning behind all the trees put in there.
You're talking
About the arborvitaes on the north and.
No, we're talking about all the pine trees
The pines.
on the
The
north,
pine.
yes,
Tree borders,
yes.
yeah.
All right, go ahead. Faith.
So you just pass those pictures around, anybody wants to see it here too. Pass it down. Okay, hello, fellow listeners. All right, I got up at midnight last night to write these notes. I couldn't sleep thinking of all I wanted to say. This is serious. First, I would like you all to think of the cemetery as a beautiful, quiet, serene resting place. One picks the headstone for a personal epitaph that depicts the family and loved ones. Of course, everyone has rules to follow and to remove flowers and schedule a mowing. Then think of a plot of land that is closely aligned with homes, the backyards, active lifestyles, noise, all sorts of personal items stored or stacked, with no privacy of the owners when a funeral is in process and many local and out-of-state relatives are looking around, especially during the Memorial Day commemoration and tribute to veterans. Also, the wonderful Veterans Memorial added at the entrance into our cemetery. It could not have been placed there if the beginning of the tree privacy line had not been installed. Therefore, why have some trees been allowed to be whittled up, holes in the private secure line bordering? Soon more will do the same as so desired. It is then no longer a beautiful border of green trees to complement the privacy of the resting places in the cemetery. The objective of the trees is the first place was not just for the benefit of a few, or personally me, but for all the people in our city, for all posterity to display our last resting place of proof of life, our epitaphs to leave a lasting hello and goodbye forever to our family and friends. What needs to be done is dig out the splintered up trees, replant and make a rigid rule against defacing. It has cost money from meaningful family donations and matched funds from without the city. It must be revered and kept up tidy and replace any that may need to be replanted. If the city can work on the parks, make the better ball fields, picnic area, toys, pool for kids, put in more sports complex and recreation spots, north by Myers Meadow, add whatever and whenever needed to enhance the town, and also a thank you to, and God bless, to our past mayor, Beryl O'Connor, for the direction of making possible the beautiful care facility on the east side. Why would the cemetery be left to become a whatever site to deface and still belong to the city? As you know, my family have donated for the tree project from my husband's memorial money, a gift I felt useful and needed for the enhancement of the cemetery for everyone, not just me. I have 6 lots there for future resting place for any of my family. A heartfelt meaning while I am here. Also, there is a large tree that was damaged up near the gazebo. The top is off and a bare trunk stands. Another project for suggestion to have it cared for by a chainsaw artist. Clint Koenig is an artist that does that, to depict a soldier, maybe. That could be achieved from a special pancake event, bake sales, donations by groups such as the VFW, Legion, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and so forth. It is a possible thing to do. A loudspeaker is one other project that can be added to make the program laudable when the Memorial Day Parade stops halfway for a poem read and the Boy Scouts raise the flag. One cannot hear the message. I know the VFW Auxiliary, which I belong to, would be happy to donate to such. And now I found out Rad has one, so we'll borrow his. But we can donate for something in here that wants to get enhanced in the cemetery. Maybe we'll make the cemetery our donations. One cannot hear the message. Let's see. Also some cement benches to be put near the gazebo for older people to sit on during the service. The Weaven family put a large bench on there, up there, for all to use. And I myself sat on it this year. Let's add more. How about a fence around the east end of the cemetery, which is out into the trees, and that's bordering, that's a border too, yes. But if a fence was put around, it would dress it up. And eventually the whole cemetery for fencing. Eventually the whole cemetery on an ongoing project. Also, my last page. Also, pretty shrubs around the garden equipment shed. It's all worth it. Let's reminisce back when the trees were delivered and planted, John. No small task. John called me and I came to take pictures. He had help from Boy Scouts. It was a happy undertaking, one to last, ongoing for the ages. I don't want the neighborhood houses to become the overall focal point overlooking our resting place. It is a special location of ground chosen by the city many years ago. No excuses, no objections, beautiful spot for all. With that having been poured out to you, I also want to tell of a town near my hometown in Minnesota that is the most beautiful, well-kept, gated cemetery in the middle of town that I have many relatives in, and the memory years ago of driving around it has always stuck in my memory. We can have it too. A few questions. Did this council sanction the cutting of trees? Who did the whittling? That was another cost. We need to make new rules to secure what has been done and what needs to be done. This has become a kettle of worms. And I thank you. It comes from the bottom of my heart.
you know, and on behalf of that, just to follow that up and shortly, a lot of that was other hearsay, but the main thing is the line of pine trees. And we know if you drive by there, there's a lot of deadness, in them trees, and they need to be cleaned up. Now,
Yeah, not just that, but
you know, I mean, and maybe, and I contacted Brandon when he was on his work hours about maybe we could do some kind of shrubbery that deer don't like, because 20 years ago, I farmed that ground. That ground was all rural, and being Lisbon expanded, which we needed to, then, you know, where's all the habitat going? But, you know, and we all know that deer are more prominent, but we just want to make it look like the cemetery is its own identity, and you don't look and there's just trees right there. And we realize that my cousin buried, you know, got the ground, and then someone bank ended up taking it over and finishing it out. But, you know, if it just,
it
if we
should
can
have
make
went to the
it,
city to begin with.
if it makes it look more uniform, it's just its own self, and you just don't look across and see trees, I just think that's what we were after at the very beginning, 20-some years ago.
Yeah, and
And
granted,
thanks for listening for that.
yeah, it'll be an eyesore, till it gets fixed. And it can be fixed. How many's on the committee besides John? It needs to have some rules, and,
How would you propose that it get fixed? I'm assuming you're talking about the trimming that was done on those trees right by the
Yeah.
houses?
I would like to see those trees that are ugly dug out. That's cost now. You let it happen, dig them out and get them replaced. And John had like a blue spruce and then so many other pine trees and then blue spruce. So I think these spindly trees are the ones that are not the blue spruce. What kind of the other pines?
Those are arborvitaes, that's what the deer ate.
Most of the blue spruce are dying as well. Those are in my backyard for what it's worth.
What are you, sir?
Cherry boots.
But
I live down the
if we
corner.
have like some kind of, if we research, if this isn't just a get done quick tonight, but if we just kind of research what deer do not like to eat, you know, that could maybe grow up as a shrubbery.
Well,
That was the thing, the arborvitaes were very good for many, many years, and the deer food supply went down, and that was, you know, like the 20th thing they wanted to eat.
Most of those arborvitae are 20-year trees anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
But-
But that's what happened, is that they looked great for many years, and then one year, the deer were super hungry. Couldn't
yeah,
find other
and
sources.
we realize that,
And
you
they
know,
destroyed
that we take their food supply away from them when we build other houses, you know, everybody knows that. So we just have to realize that.
if nobody else has complained,
But we just need,
It just seems like it
what we would
should've-
like is everybody to have an open mind, not fixed tonight, just have an open mind to it. Something that we can encase it so it looks like its own identity, that you can't look and see pools and people's, you know, garage is,
You know, their
well,
garage,
you know,
the barrels they're storing.
hiding everything you
whatever.
wanna hide in back of your house.
yeah, I just,
You know, that's what we don't want, is to look at everybody else's stuff that they don't want other people to look at, because they're putting it in back of their houses, and that's what you're looking at when you're at the cemetery.
yeah, it's gotta have something, and whatever, as you know, the names of trees or shrubs
Yeah,
come together.
and just
And
table it, just think about it, you know,
We
that's.
ought to bring it to the tree board and make a
Who's on the
project out of
tree?
it that way.
It ain't gonna be tabled, I mean, what it is, I mean, you brought up a lot of good points about other things besides trees, you know, and unfortunately, we won't set our budget again until January. But I mean, it might be something that we look into budgeting for the next fiscal year.
And
I mean, you know.
And we'd appreciate that.
Like Riley said, I mean, it ain't gonna happen overnight.
No, and we don't want it to, we want everybody to think about
But I
it,
mean,
you know?
and that might be something that the cemetery board talks to other people about, of what they can
absolutely.
foresee in,
Yes, and I will say, I know for a fact, belonging to the VFW Auxiliary, we will have funds to donate. We can do projects to donate. Once something is resolved, that you can fix it, so we still have a beautiful border. John picked the
Would a fence be a
trees.
border for you? Would a fence be a border?
A border, a fence would be nice, but at least something, well, so that we aren't looking still in the yard through the fence.
Yeah, I just mean the privacy fence.
Yeah,
Exactly, that would look good, I mean, and this is just a hearsay,
I'm
you know,
just-
I
I
want,
was
you know,
just
all
asking.
tabled and everybody have their input on it. This isn't a hasty thing that we want done just
And I will tell you, and with the damaged tree, the Legion is having that carved,
oh, good.
so.
Well, I did reach out to the gentleman you're talking about,
He-
Clint. Yep,
Clint?
and he is actually, he said it'll be next year, but he's gonna put together a quote, and I'm gonna give it to the Legion member that reached out to me, so that's already in the works.
Yeah, that came out last meeting.
Oh, and I happened to just see it this week when I came down and seen
Yeah,
it.
because the whole thing is two neighbors trim their trees way up, and if there's more neighbors that
It'll just go on.
it's just gonna follow on down the line. And I'm not saying, if you look at it, there's a lot of deadness in that. But John, you know, you with the blue spruce, them look nice, and they are gonna grow, but they take a long time.
But like I said, I mean, it's something that our cemetery board will look at, have to look at, and with people that live around there too. I mean, we ain't gonna put an eyesore for them to look at out their back window.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
then maybe
I mean,
have an
it has to be
open
beautiful
meeting
both ways.
when the cemetery board meets. How many is on the board? John and, who?
No, I'm not on.
He's treated.
He's tree board.
Oh, he's just tree board. Oh,
Yes, on.
I don't know how
I
to
didn't
And
know.
councilman.
What?
He's a liaison to that board.
Yeah, he's a
They have 5
liaison.
members right now.
Well, okay, yeah, I didn't know. But
But Fran, you did bring up a lot of good points, and we
Thank you.
will keep them in mind.
Thank you. It's in front of us, so it's an ongoing project.
I don't,
Okay?
can I add to that?
Yeah.
As a former tree board member, I was on there with John several years ago, but the city gets a certain dollar amount allotted to us, and the tree board can always ask for more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, you know, because we get like $3,000 a year for trees.
Good.
And there's no reason we couldn't ask for 6 or 8,000.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and we don't want to take up any more time,
Wonderful.
but thank you for listening to our concerns, and them are our concerns, you know.
Yeah.
And there might be grants out there that we can, look at too.
Trees forever, I used to get about $6K a year from
Yeah.
when I was
So
on tree
this
board.
is a possible project, and it should be at forefront as well as everything else we are enhancing through the city.
There's a lot of
Which I'm
pride
proud
in
of.
our cemetery.
Yeah,
There's a lot of pride in our cemetery.
oh, absolutely, and so thank you. You've heard from me, and I hope you hear from some others, or call an open meeting when you get the cemetery board, tree board, whatever you do together.
Those are all published ahead, so
So my
You'll
3,
know.
4, 5
Well-
minutes are up.
Yeah.
thank you.
It's just like any elephant, you tell them you got 3 minutes and they take 25.
Well, this took about an hour and a half for me to write last night. Give me a hand up.
Good deal. Put it on the list.
Yeah. Get around here.
Okay, I'm fine, I just can't lift all this weight sometimes.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to us.
Thank you. Thank you. And the picture, oh, you got it.
I'm Cindy Golding, and I'm running for House District 83. And I'm going to all the 11 small communities in our district. So House District 83 is rural Lynn County. And so it's Palo, Center Point, Central City, Coggin, Prairieburg, Alburnett, Bertram, Springville, you guys, Lisbon, Mount Vernon, and Ely, and then all the little communities in there. There's no Cedar Rapids, Robbins, Marion, or Hiawatha. And so I grew up in a small town. Coming to these small town meetings, I just got to celebrate with you guys what you do. It makes you feel at home. You start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I've gone to Cedar Rapids City Council meetings. I lived in Cedar Rapids for about 10 years, and this is like coming home. So one of the reasons I opted to run for office is there was no one else on the ballot at the time. And my motto is running for rural and small town Iowa. I've been on Farm Bureau Board for 22 years. I was on I'm on National Federation of Independent Business. I've been on that board for over 30 years. So I celebrate and support our small town, our communities. And one of the things that made me really realize how important it is if, do you guys remember about 2004, 2005? Any of you aware of when they were pushing for city-county government? And they wanted to do away with, they wanted to have one governing body for the entire Lynn County. Well, I headed up a citizens group to stop that. And we stopped it, obviously. We don't have that. And there's still a push in our big neighbor to do more and more that suppresses our small towns. And the other thing is, at a Farm Bureau meeting one time, we invite the legislators, local Lynn County legislators to come every year. And I sat across the table from one of our senators from Cedar Rapids, who also happened to be the president of the Senate at the time. And he was proposing that the only reason we lived in small towns or rural Lynn County was because we didn't want to pay Cedar Rapids city taxes. And that they should put a toll gate going into Cedar Rapids. And I challenged him and said, you know, we bring business into Cedar Rapids, you tax us. And so anyway, there's this mindset. And we need a strong voice in Des Moines that defends our rural way of life. And unfortunately, the way our legislature is set up, think of how many House seats are in Cedar Rapids. There's one House seat for rural Lynn County. And we need a strong voice, and so that's me. So I'm asking you, I'm going to sit through your meeting. Oops. I'm going to give you guys a card so you can look up who I am. And I encourage you, if there are issues that come up, I have sat through the meetings. They think I'm just coming just to talk, but no, I really am coming to listen to what is going on in your towns, because all of the towns, all of us have common issues. I live out on a farm. I happen to live on Tower Terrace Road, where they're putting in the big interchange. And for a long time, I mean, that interchange may be necessary, but they didn't meet the requirements that the DOT could put out. They said when the towns connected Center Point Road, or from the interstate all the way over to 13, that's when they would do it. Well, the towns haven't done what they said they were going to do. There is no connection over to 13 just yet, but they're putting the interchange in. Now, the interchange would be very helpful to me, but they're spending millions of dollars on something that they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And there's lots of bridges and roads in our county and in our area that could use those dollars, rather than doing this before all the criteria was met that was put in there and reinforced year after year. So there's things like that that we need to have a voice in Des Moines that says, hey, there's a bridge out in Hagen, why didn't you fix that before you spent, you know, $4 million over here? Why didn't, so we need that kind of recognition. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Discussion possible action in reference to payments to Blake Brothers for repair work in the amount of $10,950.
Where are you at?
That was last week's agenda.
That's what we do, discussion possible action in reference to
Sauerkraut Days.
um,
You'll be all right. Just take your
alcohol
medication.
use, alcohol use in the city park. Well, why was it in my minutes?
So Jerry's here, we listed just a bunch of those
Yeah,
topics.
yeah.
He'll go through them and then tell you what's pending. This is a week early. We have one more meeting before the event, so whatever's not done tonight, we can approve
Yep.
at the next meeting.
I'm going to run through the list that we provided. I know you have some separate questions that may or may not be answered in that. So I'm Jerry. Jared Boots is here with us. He's also on the committee. So in front of you, you have our normal standard list we present every year, just change the dates. Road closures for downtown, for the 5K, for the parade route, for the car show, park utilization. On top of that, we have already done, I'm not going to say all the coordination, but we got at least a preliminary laid down with both directors, whether it be for cones and concrete blocks or with soccer coming up right behind us, I think like a day later, getting the fences down at the park, maybe a couple days earlier than normal, just to get that. So in front of you, you have our standard list of city coordination. We've already gone through electric and some of those other items. So before I go into the line items you have specifically called out, any questions on the list that we have provided to you? Okay. So with that then, I'll start on alcohol use at City Park during the softball tournament. From a committee standpoint, the softball tournament is one of our great events. We are very fortunate that we have fantastic directors that run that event. From a committee standpoint, unless we've been asked out there, they've got it, it's just like the car show. They've got it under control. They don't need, unless they need to check cash or more softballs or anything like that. So from an alcohol use at City Park for the softball tournament, to us, that's kind of a non. We don't really interact with it a lot, as far as a normal city policy. As far as item B, liquor license for alcohol sales at City Park, to the best of my knowledge, well, to all of my knowledge, and as of a couple weeks ago, no one has approached anybody about it. So I don't know why this made the agenda unless you have a specific vendor or individual. We're not. So to me, they're kind of linked together.
Your liquor license is for
Right there.
right here.
That's all.
Last year was a special, I mean, because we had a vendor in the park that paid the vendor fee and did that.
Yeah, that wasn't our license. We aren't staffed to do two liquor, we just.
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever done a liquor license
So-
until last year.
As far as A, I really don't have a statement on that. As far as B, we're not asking for one.
You want it?
No. Was that quick enough?
I don't either. Solve that problem.
Yep. As far as C, I'm gonna just keep rolling down the list unless anybody has any questions. Liquor license it takes a trifecta. We have to have council approval, we have to do our online application, and the dram shop has to be filed. We got our invoice for dram shop on Friday. We're in the middle of paying that bill. Obviously, we have to have the three legs of the tripod to get it to work. We'll do the online, you have your action, and then it all comes together. So it'll be UIG insurance. We just got that on Friday, so we'll have that paid up and ready to go. And then our online application. So we're just asking for your part of it. You can't move forward without all three.
We can approve it with pending.
Yeah, yeah. Fireworks permit. Fireworks will be at City Park. Ice Cream Social will be at City Park this year. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Oh, I had a question. Sorry. So we'll do City Park again. We were trying to coordinate with the school. There's a couple little hiccups. A, school starts on Monday. B, you've got the fireworks out there around the track. There's some insurance hurdles there. And then really the big one, back to what Mrs. Alger was talking about, trees. There's not a lot of shade at the school if you're up in that parking lot, and we only have the 2 tents. So we were gonna ask to stick with City Park. It's a great venue. We'll have our normal band on the north side. We'll have ice cream from Bass Farms. They're gonna be providing ice cream this year. Cakes and pie donations. Lisbon Boosters will be doing food for sale. So we'll have some food there. Rides are gonna be by Bass Farms. They're gonna be doing hay rack rides with 2 bounce houses. They're gonna have the safety fair again. Southeast Lynn, RC Rail, a bunch of groups are partnering together. They actually emailed today, they want more space. So we're gonna take off to the south and go around the splash pad. I think in years past, we've kept the splash pad closed during this event, just that way you don't have the water, all that's coordinated there. So the fireworks would be at the baseball diamond. We would keep the baseball fence up in its reconfigured state. Our goal is to then take it down Friday morning. Park and Rec asked us to get it out of there so they can line the fields, because they do so what, Tuesday you start? Yeah. Something like that. Backup then would be Sunday morning to get it down and out of there. Softball has their own outfield. We use it because you can paint a line in the grass, and if somebody takes off and runs, that line isn't gonna stop them. The fence at least stops them. So I don't know, a little extra. And then parade route is the same parade route, same time, same lineup, same people coordinating it, same porta potties, all clean. So that's A through E. Any other questions?
Well, we can, since it's possible action, we can approve the liquor license pending dram shop and alcohol. Yeah,
I think if it's done that way, then as soon as the
That way-
paperwork
As
comes,
soon as it comes through,
they
it's done.
just Yeah, that would be preferred from our standpoint, but we do have some time. Christina's looking at me like,
So that's
yeah.
my preferred method.
Yeah. There may have been some Wednesday afternoons that were a little dicey.
So, do I have a motion for that?
Yeah.
Wait,
I have a couple questions here. To me, when you read this, it says alcohol use at the city park during the softball tournament, that just looks like one line item itself.
Yep.
What are we gonna do about that?
We can come back and discuss that because that's not something that they're doing.
We're just approving their liquor license for downtown.
We're
We're gonna
approving the
see
liquor
through-
license, the
see
fireworks
I
permitted.
mean, we can, we'll come back, we can talk about that
Yeah,
first.
we'll talk about that.
We can talk about that first. I mean, I don't, you know, in the years past, I mean, I'm not telling the police to go in there and ticket everybody, and I'm not telling the police to not go in there and ticket them.
I think last year it was, Doug said, quote me if I'm wrong, Doug, but he said, what's, the ordinance is the ordinance, and that's kind of what we all agreed on. That no alcohol in park, unless somebody that had dram shop
Unless it's
or liquor
prohibited.
license is represented.
Yeah, council has to make a decision whether they're gonna allow
Yeah.
alcohol in the park and what they're gonna allow, what conditions they're gonna require for that period.
Well, I'm just saying that if we continue to let one person do this, get a license and go out and do this, you know, what would say if I come in here and say, I'm gonna hire Kid Rock, and I want your park?
It's up to council.
I think the difference to your question is right now, no one's asking for a license. As far
Nobody
as
has
I'm
came
aware.
forward and
No
asked
business is
to
going forward.
be
Yeah.
in
So,
parks.
or do food, for that matter, or to
Right.
provide food, or to slushies, or ice cream, or, no one's asking for any sales.
I'll be honest, I put these two items on the agenda because nobody's come to me or asked or told Christina or anything. I didn't know where that stood, if somebody was gonna do it, so that's why these are on here. So that we have a clear understanding, and I know Chief Shannon and I had talked about it already, and whatever it is, we just want a clear understanding that we can move forward with, so.
Sounds like we don't have an action item, no one's asked to do it.
Yeah,
We have an ordinance in place.
that's great, yeah, that's why it's here.
My
So it's not
preference would be to tiptoe right past allowing certifying beer in the park, if we could do that. If they got one in their back pocket, I guess I could care less, but one, you know,
Just to be clear, in my 13 years, I've never had an issue.
yeah, that's what,
I've never had a problem. Our issues are down here, and it's,
yeah,
It's not here.
I've never been aware of one.
again, I don't go up, unless we need to cash a check or bring more softballs or something, but I've never been alerted to an issue.
So what do you wanna do with it, Rick?
Well, I kind of want to, I think Greg wants it too. We need to know, like, what to tell these teams. Because you're putting the police department in gray area.
Alcohol's not allowed in the park.
Okay, so-
That's what the ordinance is.
All right, that's what I needed to know.
Unless somebody comes forward with that. I can't do it, I have an event with 300 people out of our,
We get it, we just
so
want
I
to know.
can't
what
move up my liquor.
Perfect.
The thing that I've sat here and did it for more than anybody on the Sauerkraut Days, and we've never had an issue down there.
Right, but we've looked past it.
It was brought up last year that there was a big issue. We've always had problems down there.
No, I don't think there was ever an issue. It was, we wanted to follow ordinance. And ordinance is no alcohol in the park.
We have our next meeting on Sunday. We'll make sure that that's addressed.
I'll second you.
As far as A and B, that liquor license paid for over there, that's.
Yeah.
So what that one is, he made no motion to pass their liquor license pending dram shop and alcohol, tobacco, or alcohol beverage.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Beyond the alcohol and the liquor license, we would look for the firework permit approval, the road closures, the public works, that coordination with the city, use of city space between diamonds 3 and 4, as well as the chip coat, ground up asphalt, whatever the parking lot is where the park is, With school starting, we are not going to be able to use the school parking lot for ride storage. They're coming out of Cedar Rapids on Sunday from Sweet Corn Festival. They stage them in over the course of 2 or 3 days. Then we're here. From here, they head south. Last ride usually leaves Tuesday morning. Sometimes it's Monday night. It depends on how quick they get out. What's key for us is we try to get downtown open by noon. So they can't take that many runs. They got to stage them somewhere to get the streets open, so then they can come back and hook and go. That would be all public spaces. The between 3 and 4 is where they've been the last 4 or 5 years we've had them. And then the parking would be the new, just because we can't go to the school. The teachers are already there. So that's all part of that list as well as the barricades and all the other coordination items with the
So
city.
where do they, you said you go?
What's that?
Where are they gonna go
What do you mean, where are they gonna go?
with the rides?
I think they'll put over
Behind Howard Judy's. That chip coat, ground up asphalt, whatever the.
That east parking.
Yeah, where that parking lot is.
The old camp, where they used to go.
Yep. They can get in right off of Business 30, right down in, straight away, pull and drop. They won't come out through the houses.
New addition?
I say that, but I'll have to eat crow on that at some point. So we would be looking for approval of all the items there. It should be on your list.
I motion to approve fireworks permit, parade route, the road closures as proposed. What am I missing?
Public Works coordination, just like we've done in the years past.
Right.
We don't drain where every barricade goes on this list. That list goes to him.
Right. Yeah, motion to approve those items.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you for
Jerry, that's something special you should be down there, right?
Yeah, this is it. This should be it. Look, Christina, it's July. She's bailed me out so many times.
Though I
He's
heard
good like
word
that.
of some kitty tractor pull, somebody might want to get with me on that.
Yeah, we discussed that on the walk-in.
Okay.
Walk on day report.
You can see that report there. This is the free drop-off
Thanks,
day we
guys.
had. As you can see, pretty successful day. I don't know if you have any questions or comments.
I haven't looked at it, but I was just wondering how compared to previous years. It seemed like there wasn't as much junk.
It's
Solid
very
waste was about
comparable.
the same. Midwest Electronics went down a little, and volunteering went up a little.
What we're talking about, Cindy, is every year we have a bulk item day, just so people can get rid of like old refrigerators, blah, 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 whatever. The city foots the bill on it just to try to keep our town getting cleaner. So hopefully one year we won't have to have it,
Do you haul that stuff then to the landfill, or where does it go?
but
The garbage trucks show up, they took it.
yeah, they take all of
Our
it.
contracted company brings trucks and then they take it.
And we have not received our refund check yet for the iron and metal, so if it comes anywhere near what we made last year off of iron and metal, which they did take a truck out of here according to the guys, we could be very similar to the cost that we had last year, so.
Our recyclables were down as far as that. We only had one, so normally we have 3 for that stuff, so.
Where do they take that usually to?
Marion Iron, I believe.
I think, yeah.
Where's iron and metal recycled? Is
Down.
that your day-to-day
Yeah,
or
yeah, that's
throughout the
shop.
year? Oh.
No, not throughout the year. No, that's
This
during
was-
that.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
fill
like
up
the
the-
bicycles and stuff they bring in, and then we crush all that into a tote for them, and then they haul that off.
And then we usually do a check eventually and use it towards the cost.
Awesome.
All right, anybody got any questions? Set public hearing for fiscal year '23, budget amendment number 1 for August 22nd, 2022.
Pretty straightforward, we'll need to do a budget amendment with all the projects that got held over. It's pretty common, so if we could do it for 22nd of August, that'd be great.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're not gonna let us down, right now. All right.
Christina, I was here.
Discussion of possible action on approving the city street finance report for fiscal year '22.
So this is a report that we have to do every year. This used to be due at the end of September. They did move the date back to December 1st, but I decided I wanted to get it done, get it out of here, so I did. This is for our road use taxes that we get in, and it's a state report that's required. So we just need your approval for it as the final submission. And it has been approved from the Iowa DOT already.
Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And table that. Discussion possible action on approving resolution 2022 capital improvement transfers.
These are transfers that we do each year. The first half of that resolution, you'll see those are items that are going to capital improvement accounts, EMA, park, library, fire, road use. But then it is also the allocation of our local option sales tax that we do each year. This will be the final payment that we do to ourselves for the sports complex land purchase, as it'll be paid off with this one. City insurance, street lights. There's the $17,000 for our cemetery GIS system that we're gonna get going here. The after-school cafe, which I have talked to Nicole at Southeast Lynn, and they are gonna be trying to bring that back this year. So she did request that again. The fireworks at Sauerkraut Days, and then there's the Dolly Parton Library, $1,000 that we promised them.
So we got the park and the cemetery thing, that'll be last ones on that.
Correct, yes,
Thanks.
yes.
And just so you know, right now, we're right around 320,000 a year in what's coming in, so.
Lost funds, yeah.
We have a motion,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion and a second. John?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Rick? Mike?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Now I can do it on this one. Approve resolution 2022 tree board member.
Does Robert want to be on the tree board, or does he want to be
Yeah,
on
so
separate board?
we had a discussion, and if you recall the last meeting, the Destination Iowa grant, Robert is all on board with helping with that. He is willing to join the tree board and have the tree board oversee the initial stages of the nature park to see how that goes. Because we talked last time how it's kind of the same-minded people that have the same motivations and whatnot. If that works, great. If not, we'll work to separate it out because it's gonna require a whole new ordinance drafted and it's gonna take time. I will probably at the next meeting have a public hearing to amend the tree board numbers to add 2 additional members because he just emailed me that he does have 2 more people that want to join this. So I think this is long story short, this is the best way to proceed for now and see how this goes.
Fastest way to get started.
Correct.
Okay. Awesome.
So, and Robert was all on board with that, so.
Make a motion to approve the new member.
Second.
Motion and a second. Sarah?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Rick? Nate?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Correspondence?
The only thing I had is, I've actually had 2 people come in this week and they'd mentioned on how good the cemetery mowing looks. So I just wanted to pass that on to you that we don't always hear a lot of good things and I think Jordan's doing a great job out there and I just want to pass it on.
Anything else? City engineer report.
He is out of the office this week. He got ahold of me today. We are close on the plans for the well, getting sent off to the DNR. Once they sign off, we're gonna drill the well, a test well first, and then at that point, we'll be able to figure out what we need for chemical storage and treating the water, once we know what the quality of the water is. So hopefully we'll have more on that in the next couple weeks.
Where's the placement of that? My backyard. Thanks.
Out by Barnes.
North of the barn.
That's all he has.
Okey-dokey. Public work.
All right, a couple things. First and foremost, we back in 9/29 of '21 was when we put our order in for street painting. We did that with the DOT, so A, we guaranteed to get paint because last year, nobody could get paint. We've just been notified as of today that they're hoping for us to get our paint by August 8th. What that's telling us is we're not gonna have the paint in time for sauerkraut. Because like everybody else, getting supplies is getting hard. So I just wanted everybody.
So if you get it August 8th.
There's no guarantee.
And it's already been backed up once already.
Yeah.
working second shift with me.
I mean, we're gonna do what we can. I just want you guys to know that it is literally out of our hands.
But ours will probably put it on sale next week.
Can't get it. I mean, if we can't get it, we can't get it.
I mean, there's more expensive options out there, but it's not in the budget for it, so. We did get pavers on Gillette, new sand in between those. I don't know if you guys have been down that, it doesn't clack near as much. That street especially, with all the construction on it and the age of it, is gonna need to be redone in the near future. Brandon and the engineers and I are gonna be working on that. We got a lot of the cracks sprayed on Novak and throughout town, so Novak will be the next one we place the sand in to get that to quiet down and hopefully extend the life of that one too. We knew there was gonna be a growing pain with these once we installed them on how long the maintenance period was gonna be on them, and that's what we're finding out. We're in that window. Let's see. Paint, street spray. Last week, Drayton and myself, and I think Brandon too, got an email from Chief Shannon about some concerns around the pond and with some signage. Drayton's worked with Rickards and got some signs ordered. With that being said, the concerns are justified, but at some point, I feel we're gonna have to realize kids will be kids, and if they're trying to skip rocks across the pond, I don't think that's necessarily a problem we need to worry about being down there policing. If they're destroying stuff down there, I understand, but I don't know how many of you have little kids that you take around water. The first thing they're gonna wanna do is try to throw a rock, and it's gonna take a lot of rocks to fill that pond out. So that's just something I wanna bring to the attention. I know Drayton gets continuous phone calls about going down there, and
I'm amazed at how busy that is.
It is very, very busy.
there's a lot of children that enjoy that, and a lot of parents.
There were some pretty big children down there fishing today.
Yep.
They're gonna be really disappointed to find out no fishing there.
So, and we have spent, I mean, the city spent money to stock it with fish and everything, so I understand the catch and release, and, I mean, we're gonna have people take fish out of there. It's something that's just, it's gonna happen. I don't feel that pond is just there to look at. I think we want the kids to use it and stuff. and
Absolutely.
That's just my hope, is we don't have to put a fence around the pond because we just want it there to look at.
How deep is that, at its deepest?
8 foot,
Oh, really?
yeah. So it might be a little deeper than that when we were setting the diffusers in for the aeration. I think that's pretty much what we got. And then my last thing I have is, Jerry touched a little bit about the splash pad being closed. We normally close that on the Thursday of Sauerkraut Days at 4 p.m. when we leave, and then open it again on Sunday. So I want to make sure you guys are all still copacetic with that being our,
Motion so approved, close on Monday.
that's easier on us, but
I mean, I would say leave it closed till Monday. I mean, why pay to have somebody come in and open it?
the theory behind it in the past was a lot of families come back for Sauerkraut Days, so they thought they'd get to use it on Sunday if they came back, but this is it.
Okay, we'll move on Sundays. I wouldn't drive by there.
That's all I have.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions for Travis?
So, did I doze off there in that dissertation on the paint, but do they have a plan for when the paint's coming in?
It's supposed
The
to be,
good stuff?
supposed to be August 7th, but don't count on it.
August
Yeah, I
8th,
mean,
but don't, that is not a guarantee.
How did the state of Iowa or whoever,
It's everybody. I mean,
State highway.
There's a shortage of so many things in this world right now, it's ridiculous. So if you haven't ordered anything in a long time, try it, because you can't get half the things that you are looking for.
Styrofoam, food containers.
Plastic, food, and in general, the supply and demand is ridiculous right now.
and we normally try to have enough paint to cover us through this. So like last year's paint was actually 2 years ago's paint, because we had that buffer in there. We just didn't have, we didn't have a 2-year buffer planned, so.
There's 2 things on my menu that we cannot get and haven't gotten for 6 months because of the shortage. So it's ridiculous. It's a real thing. No, cottage
I'm gonna tell
fries.
you
Of all things, cottage fries.
I was a food chemist in my prior life, in Annabelle. It's made, the good road paint is made from petroleum-based
Yes.
products.
Yep.
And when they cut our petroleum supply, there's unintended consequences.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that.
Or intended consequences, however you want to look at it.
So, anything for him?
Did you want, I didn't know if Brendan was doing an review, cemetery restoration this weekend?
Oh,
You guys are done.
yeah, forgot about that, thank you.
I didn't know which one of you were gonna do it.
You got it? Go ahead.
No.
Feel free, feel free.
So we had the, I don't know the company, come down and do the restoration of the graves. So it was $1,200, I think they did 24 graves. Basically kind of lifting the ones that have sunk down, just doing different work that we normally have done. So I know that there's probably more out there, but we at least got 24 of them done, and we'll just keep working at it as budget allows.
That's what we budget for that every year.
Every year, yeah, the last couple of years, we haven't been able to due to conflict issues, so we're back on base of getting that going through again, so.
Anything else? Parks and Rec.
Registrations for fall soccer and flag football have started. The deadline will be the middle of August, the 15th. We're gonna have our movie in the park on Wednesday, August 17th. That's during Sauerkraut Days. We have a poll out on Facebook with 5 options of what people want to see that night. It usually starts around 9 o'clock after the softball games get over, things like that. We're also doing our back to school night at the city park, August 22nd from 5:30 to 7:30. That's the same night as back to school at the school, so people just come, we got a meal for them, goodie bags, things like that. And then the last thing I have on here is the Destination Iowa grant that Ann has been talking about the last few meetings. I have been looking into that. First off, reaching out to see if we're eligible for that. I'm waiting to hear back. I called, left a voicemail, and sent an email today. So with already starting the first phase of the project, I'm just seeing if we're eligible for the whole project, or if not, if we're even eligible for future phases of the project. And I've also reached out to Joe Jennison, who has offered to be involved. He's done a lot of grant writing, things like that, so he wants to be involved in that. And then I'm hoping to put some sort of group together with a couple people to try to knock that out. It's due by the end of December, but it's as money allows, so if they run out, they run out, but if they have money, it extends past that date, so. Other than that, I've been mowing, weed eating.
Getting any kids signed up already yet?
Yep.
So your registration's open through the 15th of August?
Correct.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Anybody any questions for Drake? Police Department.
Everybody kind of stole my thunder tonight, but just passing on the same information with the parks, just asking parents to, supervise your kids when they're around there, making sure they're picking up their garbage and different things like that. There was a whole list of complaints that we received from there, but again, I kind of agree, there's some of them that we're not gonna do much about. There's not a whole lot we can do from that standpoint, other than having, hopefully, conversations and be respectful of the property. It's a beautiful area, and do their part to keep it that way. Then the other one was during the Sauerkraut Days discussion, they talked about the Wellness Coalition and the community fair. We will be doing a prescription drug drop box during that event with the Wellness Coalition of Rural Lynn County. So we'll be partnering that, so you can bring unwanted meds or anything like that down too, and dispose of them there too. So we'll be out for that. And then I met with Superintendent of Lisbon Schools and started a conversation, introduced myself, and had conversations related to our roles in the school, what we do with the continuing on with school resource activities, and also discussing active threat trainings and different things like that that we encounter. So it was a good meeting, and we look forward to continued support between both of us.
Any questions for Doug?
You said you're doing a drug drop-off box at the park? I guess my question is, why would they do that?
It's part of their programming that they're doing, so we're just gonna be there supporting that.
Any questions? Anyone's director, the report was in your packet, if you guys want to look at it.
One thing I just wanted to make note, I know I talked about it before, it's got April, May, and June. April was almost 110 calls for service more. May was about 122, and another 111 in June, so from last year. So, and they have no missed calls. I think that's phenomenal. I know we've touched on it before, but that's pretty incredible. So kudos to them and their volunteers and to Jake especially. So.
Yes, it is. Fire chief, go ahead.
I just said agree.
Fire chief.
We're still waiting on the gear, same deal, supply issues. It was supposed to be in March, and they said May, and here we sit. Again, that's with the AFG grant. I have to report this. We have until the end of June to receive it, so hopefully we get that here soon. The Fire Association used fundraise money, approximately $18,000 to order boots and helmets for the members. Those are in, so they're pretty nice, and it's good to get equipment, and like I said, they're using the fundraise money for that. And the firemen will be running the bathtub races and Sauerkraut Days at 2 p.m. on Saturday. We'll be selling the water balloons. Usually make between $1,000 and $1,500 off that. So if you're around and want to get hit with a balloon, come on down.
Cindy, if you haven't seen a bathtub race, you haven't lived.
I participated in one in college.
There you go.
Come down in 3 weeks, you can participate in one here. City administrator. Anything for fire chief? City administrator.
A lot of stuff we've already hit on that I've been dealing with. One thing is I'm still working on nuisances and getting some pretty good response. I still have a couple of tall grass areas and a couple of just properties that need cleaned up that I'm working with, but all things considered, it's going pretty well. We got the second part-time help up and running. That seems to be going very well. Now the baseball is done. We're hoping to start tackling the remaining list of things we have done, or things to do. Sports complex update. They have started utilities out there. Storm sewer was done down on Walnut, and today they were hooking into the sanitary sewer. They've already started putting the topsoil that they're putting back over the top of it. So looking at this, I think they're about 3 or 4 days behind from what I can tell in this. They had several people out there today. I've been over there multiple times every day for just different things that come up. So all things considered, everything's going pretty well. No issues with anything. So we have had Public Works had to go over and help with some trees that weren't marked to get out. We got that kind of cleaned up so that way those property owners behind that are on Washington Street, there won't be any shrubs and stuff, so we just cleaned all that out of there. So special thanks to those guys for helping out with that. met with the Economic Vitality Committee. One thing with that, they call it the big grant, Business Improvement Grant. That closes on the 1st. It's for, it's through CDG, and it's for the Mount Vernon Business District and the Lisbon Business District. This is for a grant for outside repairs. I know that Joe went around, I think, personally and handed these out to the business owners downtown. So just know that August 1st is the deadline for that application. And the last but not least, we received the final check from EMC for Duratio for the insurance. And the only thing we have left, I believe, is street signs on our end to order and put in. But otherwise, through insurance, that claim is now closed. And I've been working on that since the day I started. So that is a good thing to cross off the board. That is it.
Any questions for Brandon? I'll tell you what he was talking about when we talked about sports complex. The city council, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago, purchased some land just behind the retirement village here. And we're putting in, how many soccer fields?
10.
10 soccer fields and 2 baseball fields. What we do now is, he holds it all. We also own the city park here, but the school uses that park for half the year. And he tries to run in with the school, you know, put their spots on. Everything will be over there that we have for our little kids now. What I have kind of learned though, it seems like when we do a sports complex, so like we're doing one, it seems like the bigger cities always get the money for it.
Yes.
Not the littler cities.
I am very aware that my kids went to Albert School, and they put in,
That changes everything.
That changes everything right there. Lisbon's a wrestling school.
Yeah, wrestling.
That's just offering that.
Yeah. But that's,
And that's what a nice complex is, right?
yeah, but I was a charter member, we started a school foundation so that we could do that, and just trying to tap into some of those things that I know Cedar Rapids schools got was exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, exceptionally easy for the Cedar Rapids schools to get them
Yes.
in comparison. What is it, 17 acres?
35.
How many?
35.
35 in total. That's all being converted over there, so
That's pretty cool.
pretty big commitment for us.
I think you guys are doing a marvelous job.
Okay, I'll vote for you.
We're working on it.
We're trying.
Council report, let's start. Christine, you got anything?
I am happy to report that I have finished the outstanding obligations disclosure report, which is for our debts that we have, the street finance reports, GASB 77, which has to do with our TIF rebates, and the Corey report, which is health insurance. I usually have about eight major reports due, and I have half of those done. I will be heading to Ames for Wednesday through the rest of this week for Academy, and then next week we have our city audit. So,
Oh, fun.
yeah. Hopefully things come back too.
Any questions for Christine?
I am.
You're good, girl.
In Cyclone Country, that's not vacation.
Nathan?
I don't have anything to report.
I just will make a comment that we've had 2 eyesores in Lisbon for quite some time in housing. And I stopped on the second one on Main Street today to tell them what a fantastic job that they have done with that thing. And the other one is completed now, and they've done a great job on that. But if you get a chance to look at that or get to see them, give them a pat on the back. Did a lot of work, and it's going to be a beautiful home for somebody.
Just congratulations to the boys and girls, baseball and softball. Didn't turn out the way they wanted, but they had a good season.
close.
And congratulations to Lisbon's Austin Crow. He was drafted by the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
Southeast Lynn needs volunteers, being the summer season, people on vacation, and they don't want to burn out the volunteers they do have. They need, especially for delivering meals and taking seniors to medical appointments, and there's other volunteer opportunities there. So a good chance to fill in and find out what it's all about. That's all I have.
Sarah?
I don't have anything.
Good. I wanted to also congratulate Lisbon, boys and girls, baseball and softball teams, great job. I want to congratulate Mount Vernon softball. They got first time, first in state, I think it's the first time ever. First. Gillette Lane, Brendan, you got that on your list? One lot.
Yes, that's the one I'm trying to,
I set a date for him. Tell him.
I'm just trying to get in contact with him.
Yeah.
I did this last time, and
I know we talked about it.
and I know that it was for sale, and now it's not for sale, so I'm trying to figure out where it's at.
I get it, set a date that it has to be done by, or we're gonna go in and do it. I mean, I've had a lot of complaints about that one. On July Lane, the only lot that's not sold.
924.
Right, Martha.
924 Martha.
Isn't he required to keep that owner?
Correct. Just trying to get hold of him. It's a vacant, it's not a house, there's no house there.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I drove by it today and thought, Mr. Novak needs to get one more.
I don't know.
He doesn't own it.
No, he doesn't own it.
That one?
I don't think he owns it.
That's all I got, so.
Oh, you're right.
Danger.